Thanks to the support as a channel member, James Maples. So who's sponsoring this video? Skillshare. Mrs Wearmouth, I know all about Skillshare. I've been using them for years. My videos wouldn't be as delicious as they are without everything I learned on Skillshare. Yeah, absolutely. In between the two matches, I'll tell everybody all about them. Deal. Good work, Mrs Wearmouth. Welcome to part 127 of Homegrown. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our first ever games in Europe in the Europa Conference League qualifying round, fourth leg. We play against Wisla Krakow. We need to beat them. We need to beat them to get into the Conference League proper. So beat them is what we shall go and do. We play them at home first, then we'll play Burnley offline, and then jump back into the away game against them when hopefully we secure our qualification. As you'll know from yesterday's episode, our start to the season couldn't have gone any worse. 2 defeats from 2, but at least Villalobos is fit for this game. And after much consideration, I've decided to stick with a 4-2-4 for one more match, because at least when we were doing this with Villalobos last year, it was working. It was getting the best out of him. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and get the best out of him. I'm just going to swap these two over and do this with them. We are going with Elias starting, so I think he was good when he came on against Manchester United in yesterday's episode. Other than that, it's a very familiar team. We still are missing players. Cowlick's suspended for this one as well. How is he suspended for European football? Was he playing in Europe? He must have been playing in Europe for Aberdeen last year. So not only was he suspended for the first league game of the season, he's also suspended for the first European game of the season. Have we got a maniac on our hands here? 3 red cards last season for Aberdeen. Okay, that's something to know about him, something to bear in mind. So the team for the first ever game in Europe for home is Williams in goal, a back four of Peresato, Anderson, Elias and Thomas, Perez and Oliveira in midfield, Richardson and Park out wide, Francisco and Villalobos up front. Goodness me, do I need a performance out of these boys today to turn around our terrible start to the season? If we manage to bottle getting into the Conference League proper because we're just having a ropey start to the season, and because we got a dodgy injury, and because we had to sell our best player because otherwise you'd have got grumpy, then I'll be cross. I'll be very cross. Oliveira, ball over the top for Villalobos, who nods it down to Francisco. Of course, those two did start to build up a little bit of a partnership in the last few games of last season, playing together quite a lot, and they've combined there. Villalobos nods it down. He knows exactly where Francisco's going to be, and Francisco just whacks it from range, and that, believe it or not, is our first goal in any competition this season. Like I say, troubled start, but good to see a goal on the board. I have no concept of how good the team that we're playing could be. This could be one of those games that we win 15-0, or it could be that that's the only goal of the entire two-legged tie. Villalobos again slotting it into Francisco, and this time he hits it just right. Villalobos is looking lively. I am so conflicted on what I should be doing with Villalobos. He's missed match day 4 times now because he's been out at nightclubs, but he is clearly starting to become a very, very good player. What on earth do we do? Park from the penalty spot. He scores. Second, he's got off doing the chicken dance. Lovely stuff. 2-0 to home. Let me know down in the comments section what I'm supposed to do about Villalobos, because do we just accept that he's a nutter and hope that he settles down as he gets older? Because it is affecting his development as well. All this missed training, all this missed match days, it is costing him development. He is officially declining as a player, but you see him on the pitch. His movement is fantastic. And he was scoring goals consistently at the end of last season as well. We're 3-0 up after 20 minutes, by the way. I think this answers the question about how good this team are. So what we might do, if we're like 6-0 up in the first leg, I'll show you a league game rather than showing you 2 absolute drubbings. If we do enough to secure our spot, we'll play the second game off camera, because as much as it's nice seeing us win, you don't need to see us win 20-0 twice, because it'll be a 40-minute video if we have to do that. Oliveira in midfield, playing it across to Perez. This is exactly what we need, though, to kickstart our season. Richardson back to Oliveira. Francisco now. And Perisato flying in from deep. Todd Thomas is now forward on the overlap. Plays it back to Park. It's off the post. We very nearly grabbed our 4th goal before half-time. Our opponents not even having a shot yet. We are being utterly dominant so far. And we'll do the good old-fashioned don't get complacent, because we don't want to get complacent. At 3-0, I don't think we're so far ahead that we don't show the second leg. I think, bearing in mind this is our home fixture, things could definitely go wrong from a 3-0 lead. I think we probably need 6 to be able to confidently say we're definitely through. Perez then is lining up a free kick. It's very central. If he scores from here, it's going to be a very good goal. He didn't score, thus wasn't a very good goal. Wasn't a particularly good free kick, actually. It's one of those difficult ones where he's dead centre, and unless you're Cristiano Ronaldo, you ain't scoring from there, because it's too hard. Even I, Kev, would struggle to score from there. And for the second day in a row, I'm wearing the best shirt you've ever seen. So if I can't score from there, in this shirt, nobody can. Park is doing well down this right-hand side. We just need a little bit of end product from him. There is the cross, looking for Francisco. It's causing problems in the penalty area, but nobody's able to apply a finish to it and give us that 4th goal. Richardson now across to Francisco, back to Perez and Francisco. Lovely pass through to Park, and there is number 4. A second of the game for Park. And on days like this, where you don't need a holding midfielder, goodness me, do Perez and Oliveira look good in midfield. It's almost like we're playing with 2 attacking midfielders in behind a front 4. Francisco kind of drops in to join them, and it's like 2 3s who are all attacking, and they're being joined by Thomas and Perisato. On days like this, when we're much better than our opponents, this system works wonders. I think we probably just need to not be quite as naive as we were in yesterday's episode, and maybe not go this attacking against teams like Arsenal and Manchester United. They're probably games where we could do with bringing Passotti in and playing a holding midfielder in there, and maybe sacrificing one of those forwards, even though it's a system that hasn't really worked for us when we've tried it previously. Perhaps it's time to try it again, just applying a little bit of logic to the situation. Francisco with the header that goes just wide. He's actually been quite wasteful. He scored a wonder goal, but he's had 2 better chances than the goal he scored and has missed both of them. And despite the nice things I said about Villalobos for his link-up play early on, we're playing against a team we should be comfortably better than, and he's not scored a goal yet. So he's not irreplaceable in this team, is he? You know what I'm going to do, because I think they deserve it. It's Europe. Sir Harrison Davies is playing in Europe. He joined us in Tier 8. He never left. He's 32 now. He's played international football. It's not that special for him, but Davies is on. And in that same vein, I think we're going to bring Kieran Hodgkinson on in midfield as well. He can go in there for Oliveira, and we'll make that as our 2 changes for now. You know what? I'm going to make a triple change. I'm going to bring on Bayer for Villalobos as well, because Villalobos was struggling with fitness pre-match because he's missed some of pre-season. He's missed a league game. And Bayer could really do with a goal, and this is the kind of opponent that he might just grab one against. You know what? At 4-0, I think we need to see the second leg, because stupider things have happened. We've watched the 2 games in yesterday's episode. We can still throw this away from here. So I'll go back to the original plan. We'll play Burnley off camera, and then we'll be back for the second leg and then the draw to find out who we get in our Conference League group. But first, a word from this episode's sponsor. Well, it's me talking about the sponsor. I'm so professional. Well, thank you very much, Kevin. Might I say, that is an excellent shirt you're wearing. And I've got one too. Brilliant stuff. Just a quick message to say that this episode is sponsored by Skillshare. Now, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators. Explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. They have classes on a wide range of topics, looking at stuff like film and video creation, lifestyle, productivity, through to music, fine art, web development, you name it. They've probably got a course on it for you to check out. And on that note, I'm particularly interested in checking out this course from Christopher Griffin, Plants at Home, uplift your spirit and your space, where he's got a section in here about finding your perfect plant. Now, personally, I think I've already found my perfect plant. This is my cactus, Jack. He lives in my office with me. But I'm willing to learn that there might be a more appropriate plant for me. And this class is going to be the place where I find that out. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, which means there's no ads and they're constantly adding new classes on new topics. And not only that, but the first 1,000 people to sign up for Skillshare using the link at the top of the description get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. So you too can choose and find your perfect plan, or do one of those courses about video creation that you lot are always asking me about. Sponsorships like this one are a massive thing for a creator such as myself. They balance out and smooth out my income over the course of the year, make it much easier for me to focus on quality rather than just churning out as many videos as I possibly can, and allow me to buy shirts just like this one. So thank you for those of you who do support the sponsors, and I urge you to go down and check this one out. Like I say, top of the description below. You won't regret it. I've been using Skillshare for years, and I am serious when I say pretty much everything I've ever learned about being a YouTuber, I learned on Skillshare. So go check it out. It is great. Now back to video game Kev, who's, oh God, did I just admit it's a video game? Role play mode back on. Let's go play the second leg of that Europa Conference League tie. Well, what a difference winning a football match can make. We beat Krakow 4-0, and then we immediately beat Burnley 4-0 in the league as well, with goals from Francisco, Richardson, Park and Anderson, which means we're up to 16th in the Premier League. Huzzah! And we're experimenting in the second leg. We're away from home in Europe. What better time to experiment with a slightly amended version of the 4-3-3? We're basing it on a gegenpress rather than the vertical tiki-taka that we failed so miserably with. Was it 2 seasons ago now? It does allow Passotti back into the team, who's now 21 years old. Is he still the next somebody or other? He's not. Has he still got 5-star potential? Where would it? Yeah, he has, in fact. I mean, this is his 5th year at the club. And this might be a route back into the team in some of these bigger games for him. So Passotti is in. Villalobos misses out because Francisco's been in better form than him and doesn't go out drinking at all hours. So yes, I have a Villalobos vendetta. But this is the team for the second leg, where we're testing out a new tactic. Williams in goal, a back four of Peresato, Elias, Anderson and Thomas. Passotti at the base of the midfield, Oliveira and Perez ahead of him. Perez getting to play a little bit more attacking in that Mazzala role. Richardson and Park out wide, and then Francisco up front, playing as a pressing forward, because when I had him on there as an advanced forward, it left a big gap behind him, which I could push Perez further forward, but the idea is to be more defensively solid. So rather than doing that, let's drop Francisco back a little bit. That's the theory. When Jordi's fit, he could potentially play on the left-hand side as an inside forward and cover some of that area as well, but he's still not fit to play, so can't play him because he's not fit. So as long as we don't lose 5-0, we're going to be into the group stages of the Conference League. But really, we're having a look to see how this system plays, particularly how Passotti plays in front of that back four, whether he gives us a little bit more protection from what we've had in some of those early games that we saw on yesterday's episode, where we got absolutely thumped by better teams. I guess playing against a team we're much better than isn't the best way to judge that, but at least it's a system that we're learning to play. And Anderson's already got his 3rd goal of the season. He is quite the threat from the set pieces. Ever since I speculated yesterday, was it earlier in this video, they all merge together when you record them back to back in the same excellent shirt. I will never stop talking about the shirt. Don't even ask. But he seems to be scoring an awful lot of goals since I mentioned that he perhaps wasn't very good. He's proving that he's the second coming of Harrison Davies. He's not, but he's very good. He's only 6'1", but still a massive threat from these set pieces. Elias now, who's not looked out of place since coming in the side. So I think Elias is probably going to be the man that we go with alongside Anderson until Fazekas is back. And then when Fazekas is back around Christmas time, then we make a decision. Is it going to be Elias or Anderson who partners him for the second half of the season, assuming Fazekas doesn't have a massive drop in attributes, having been quite badly injured at quite a young age. We know it is possible for players to get ruined having injuries this early on in their career. But then at the same time, those of you who were around for the Bourne series last year will know that some of our best players in that series had multiple long-term injuries early in their careers. Cook and Cernajaki, our 2 wingers, both at the same time getting broken legs, broken ankles. I think Cook broke his leg again as he was healing from his first broken leg. And they both went on to be absolute superstar Champions League winners. And that was in their late teens, early 20s. So it doesn't always ruin a player, but it could ruin him. So we've got to be alert to that, which is one of the reasons we signed so many centre-backs this summer. Because if we've got to replace Abagai and Fazekas, because Fazekas is broken, Elias can certainly be one part of that. And then we've got the other two that we brought in to try and become a long-term partner for him. Park slides it across goal, but there's nobody there to tuck it away. It remains 1-0 on the night, 5-0 on aggregate. And now Park on the right-hand side again, who has been a threat so far today. He has definitely got the beating of, I was going to say this left back. I actually think it's the left midfielder who's tracking back. But he's in again, and this time Francisco with a very solid header that cannons back off that crossbar. The entire front three having a lovely time out there today. Krakow, is that who they are? I think that's what it said. Or am I making up a team name? Francisco, lovely finish from Francisco. They're actually lining up differently to how they did in the first leg. They've come out with the diamond, and we've decided to counter their attacking midfielder with Passotti. All deliberate, of course. But that's a lovely finish from Francisco. He is playing with an awful lot of confidence at the moment, and Park's come in very narrow there, and Francisco with the easy little dink over the top. Beautiful stuff. 2-0 on the night, 6-0 now on aggregate. We haven't seen much of Passotti yet because there's not been much in the way of attacking from the Polish side yet, but Park's certainly playing himself back into some form over the course of this episode, which is very, very important for the long-term success of this football team. We need Park to be playing well. I'm looking down at the bench, particularly at Jordi and Juan Jose. That's £120 million off a player there. I think we're going to look to get them both on in the second half, just to get some miles under their belts, get some game time in. I know normally you'll all tell me you've got to give these players time to develop. They're young, I get it, but those two cost a fortune. They need to be making big contributions this year. Gregoire came in and did that. Villalobos not so much, but Abagai did. We need big performances from both of them this year. So we've got to give them game time to be able to get that. But this 11's looking pretty solid at the moment. And certainly since the disappointment of those first two matches, we've played very well, albeit against weaker opposition for 3 games in a row. But we are piling on some goals with no reply now, which is going to give both ends of the pitch all sorts of confidence going into the next few games and ultimately into our first group games in Europe. Perez with a header that goes just wide there as we look to add a fourth just before half time. Similar shape of the game to the first leg. We were 3-0 up in the first half and then just kind of took our feet off the gas in the second half, and we can very much afford to do that here today as well because we've absolutely dominated. Jordi's going to come on probably with half an hour to go on the hour mark. I think we'll bring him on for Richardson. He is fit, isn't he? Yeah, he is fit. So he's going to come on and play on that left-hand side where he can play as an inverted winger, Raumdeuter, inside forward, playmaker. I want him as an inside forward over there, I think. So we're going to bring Jordi on to play over there as an inside forward. We're also going to get Juan Jose on. I think I'm going to bring him on up front where he can play. I mean, am I fancy enough to play a false 9 in this system? It seems like I'm just experimenting at this point because I don't really know how a false 9 works. I think if we're going to do that, we've got to push Perez a little bit further forward, haven't we? And we'll try this. No idea if this is going to work, but we've got to get these two boys functioning together somehow as part of this team. Who else have we got on the bench to potentially come on? In fact, Park is injured. So Park can come off, Wally can come on, and that's the end of our new look front three. In fact, I'm not going to bring Wally on. I'm going to bring Villalobos on, and we're going to stick Jose out there. We're going to stick him up there. And can he play as an inside forward as well? He can. So if we get both of those two cutting in, we can afford to push Villalobos forward a little bit, drop Perez back a smidgen. And this could be a front three for us. Because these are our money boys. This is £150 million off a player, all under the age of 20 years old. This is the future of the home attack up front there. Obviously, Park will be hearing all this saying, yeah, you need to add a fourth into that number, son. He only cost £250,000. So as much as we love him, it's not as important that he's a success. We want the expensive ones to be a success. So first look at Yordi in a highlight. And that's a decent ball across to Oliveira. Jose into Villalobos. And there is number 4. The three of them combining beautifully. And Villalobos finally has his first goal of the season. The big advantage we've got with this front three as well is they all speak Spanish as a first language. So there's going to be some good communication between the three of them as well, which can't be a bad thing. I think, do they speak Spanish in Bolivia? Because Perez is Bolivian. So you've got him linking in there as well. And then the two Brazilian guys speaking Portuguese. I mean, Perez, Oliveira, Pissotti have been here long enough to speak English now. Villalobos probably has as well. But at least you've got some communication between these players. And there's number 5 from Oliveira. We've actually looked better in this second leg playing the 4-3-3 than we did in the first leg and the 4-2-4. So food for thought. Once again, we're in the early stages of the season and I don't have a clue who my best team is. Welcome to youth development. You never know who's going to work and who's not going to work when you bring in this many youngsters. But what we do know is we have very much earned our spot in the group stages of the Conference League, and we should theoretically have the draw for those group stages coming up now. Money is in. When does the draw happen? The 29th, so tomorrow. So let's just hit continue, have a look at the draw, and then I don't know if there's going to be anyone any good in this. Looks like Sevilla are in it. Wolfsburg, Hearts are a top seed. Surely if Hearts are a top seed, we've got to be a top seed as well as the representatives of the Premier League, even though we've never played in Europe before. We can't, hopefully we're not going to be way down the seedings. I don't really know how the seedings work, whether they're probably by club rather than by league reputation, aren't they? You know what? If they'll pay us money, they can have him for the year. Not as a sub though. They've got to start him. Not going to do that, are they? No. Same deal with Veloso. He pays full wages and start him every game. No, you're not having him then. These boys can sit on my bench and break into my team. I'm not sending them somewhere else to not get games. That's ridiculous. Right, is it draw time? Look at all these players going on internationals. Oh, we've got a lot of good young players. We got anyone we need to... No, we can leave all that. Didn't we just talk to this lot about Veloso? Are we ever getting these draws? No, you're not having him as a fringe player. It's not going to happen. Same with Fullneck. We've got a lot of good young strikers, but unless you're going to play them, you're not having them. What have I got to say to these people? Right. Conference League draw. Top seeds does not include us. Hearts, Hibs are both in there. Wolfsburg, Sevilla. There's Sheriff Tiraspol. How are they a top seed? And we're only a second seed. What is that about? Let's get these drawn. So if we get the first seeds out first. Obviously, we want the group that Sheriff Tiraspol are in. We kind of want to avoid Sevilla. Are they only groups of 3 in this? No, groups of 4. Okay. So, this is our group, please. We know the drill. We say home 3 times, and then we come out of the bag in there. So, home. Doesn't always work. Dynamo. Okay, that's doable. Let's see who else we get. So, double Dynamo. That's not going to confuse me at all. And then probably a 4th Dynamo to come. Have we got any more Dynamos in this that can really confuse me? I mean, this could just me being an arrogant Englishman. I look at that group and think, yeah, we're winning that. We're going to be playing in Europe after Christmas, theoretically. Is it considered an easy draw? It doesn't even say. Well, we will be back tomorrow. Probably not for that one because it's only 2 more Premier League games. We'll perhaps do one of these two games. We'll perhaps do the traditional show all the away games, maybe. We'll show 2 or 3 group games. I think the big story this year is going to be Europe, hopefully winning the Conference League. I'm not sure how the Premier League is going to go because we've never had to split between the 2 competitions before, but we'll do more Europe tomorrow. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Thank you very much for watching.